is as follows. The impact of nutrition on our health, how to regulate using dual life supplements. We will talk in terms of prevention and recovery and health improvement. This topic seems to be very familiar. What else can be said about that? But when we start digging, start learning more about an issue, it turns out that it's not that simple. So, what is not that simple? Steve Jobs was once asked how he chooses who to recruit for his company, what are the criteria? And he answered, it is important for me that this person could consider an issue from all possible perspectives and use different knowledges and to combine all of that. For example, if you are planning if you are going up, let's say, on a skyscraper, 80th floor, where you can see everything. So nutrition means food, and food is necessary because food is actually construction blocks for our body. It is a source of energy, and it is also necessary to support our vital functions and our vital processes. How long can a person live without food? Historically, the medical books registered the maximum duration 50 days. Without water, of course, it's less, uh, just days. So we sometimes can hear different uh, words, food products, food, nutrients. We need to understand what they are. Uh, what we eat, food, ha has been processed. But nutrition is a different word. Nutrition is when substances, nutrients are absorbed by every cell of our body, not only an opportunity to get, but also to process and to excrete waste materials from our organs and systems. Uh, for hundreds of years, people have observed this connection between nutrition and health and the impact of what he eats on his or her health. So great experience has been collected, and discoveries of different scientists created dietology or nutrition science. This word has been very popular recently, and uh, it is related to the fact that our life has changed, our lifestyle changed, our health changed, and our food, our nutrition changed because of different reasons, starting from the simplest things. mm, our ancestors moved much more than we did. They had to run a few kilometers just to bring water, but we now deal with different substances. We move much less. Ecology, environment changed, and our nutritional habits have also changed. And in order for us to climb to this floor 80, because we need to look at the things from different perspectives, and uh, before we start climbing, we need to go to the ground floor. And we now will very briefly discuss these millennia. You can see Hippocrates on the left, and he wrote his work on diet, on nutrition, and he describes all these things connected to our today's topic. And he describes a very individual, custom-made approach. Every person needs to take into consideration various factors, such as age, amount of food, where he lives, what is the professional occupation, and even the season of the year. So we are talking about the 5th, 4th century BC. Now let's move forward to the next millennium. And that was the time when in ancient Greece, everything people uh, uh, faced, everything that was around people was regulated by gods, and there were different gods, and there was also the god of medicine, and in Latin he's called Asclepius. And as to this word, there is also the pronunciation is Asclepius. And if there is a God, then there were also those who were the founders or the disciples who already studied the role of nutrition and who already started thinking and talking about the use of different substances when treating sick people. Hippocrates told about individual approach. In this case, they were talking about things necessary to health. Now we will move forward to 5 centuries, and we will talk about a doctor, Galen Claudius. And what is interesting, he studied the issues of nutrition for sick people and for healthy people separately. So it could also be phrased as prevention and recovery. And we have accelerated so much. And by the way, when everything developed, the human brain also developed, the cortex increased. We will skip the Middle Ages, and then we need to talk about Thomas Sydenham, 17th century England. He studied the connection between food and obesity, and he also studied the disease called gout in Europe then, and of the 19th century, the development of science, the development of medicine, the interest towards natural sciences is related to fashion as well. It's very interesting, the kind of jewelry that appeared in relation to all these discoveries. So mid-19th century, nutrients they were discovered and were studied. Fats, proteins, carbohydrates, their impact on the health and the causes of diseases. In the middle, we can see Manuel Pevsner, who was a nutritionist, and he developed very interesting things, and he developed medical nutrition. And you might have heard about various types of diets, and there is a special diet for those who suffer from diabetes without sugar, There is a special diet for those who have issues with kidneys, and this diet doesn't contain any salt, etc. So he carried out huge amount of work. And the last portrait is the portrait of Ivan Mikhailovich Sechenov. He is a physiologist, and he not only talked about proteins, carbohydrates, and fats, lipids. He talked about metabolism of proteins, metabolism of fats and carbohydrates. And he said that if you follow the path of a nutrient in the body, you will understand the life. So that's his serious attitude towards this issue. And it is impossible not to mention Ivan Petrovich Pavlov. And you need to understand why we have this historical overview. We could have skipped it, but we cannot disregard it, because the issues of healthy nutrition, and everyone is so smart, and sometimes it's even funny, you will understand why. It all requires sufficient knowledge, and it's not like you've heard what micronutrient or what vitamin is required in which cases. People sometimes, after having read this information, decide that they can even treat people. So Ivan Pavlov, he was a great person who made a huge contribution to medicine, and he provided scientific explanation of digestion, and he even became the first Nobel Prize winner. So the science, dietology or nutrition science appeared, and nutrition is a part of this. So hygiene of food intake is studied at university now. What is the difference between dietology and nutrition? We will try to discuss that right now. So who is a dietitian and who is a nutritionist? What is the difference? Dietitian is a physician, a medical doctor, and sometimes this dietology is the most important thing for the patient, and treatment is ranked second, or they are equally important. So there is a medical doctor who takes care of a healthy diet for a specific person to maintain his health or to improve health. What about nutritionists? Who are nutritionists? A nutritionist is a consultant, an advisor in nutrition, and it only involves prevention. It isn't related to treatment. And nutrition science is a branch science for healthy people. He helps changing dietary habits, helps to calculate daily intake of calories. And if he makes a menu, then it is intended for a healthy person. A medical doctor can be a nutritionist, it's normal, but not vice versa. A nutritionist cannot be a medical doctor. And I sometimes see 3-day online courses, 3 days, and you will become a certified nutritionist, or 3 months and you will become a certified specialist. To put it mildly, it's rubbish. It's impossible. So there is a medical doctor dealing with diets, and then there is also a nutritionist who only consults and advises healthy people. So that's clear now. About food intake, about food and nutrition, there is another new word, another new term many people could not understand. What is healthy lifestyle? And people say, I try to follow, to have a healthy lifestyle, and they fail to understand it completely. So this is quite a recent development, anti-age medicine, because people want to live longer. It's normal. People want to stay healthy longer. It's also normal.
So as to HLS, healthier lifestyle, this direction includes a certain concept that is called SVG. What is that? This is the idea of in bidimensional, proportional concept between balanced food and exercise, and both have to be balanced. This was a research by the US scientists. They researched and submitted data of their research. So if you conduct a balanced diet plus balanced exercise, then theoretically it can prolong life from 9 to 13 years. So what are these numbers? If you have this healthy lifestyle, then cardiovascular diseases will go down. And we know that mortality from cardiovascular diseases, cardiometabolic problems, is on the first place. So if we remove that, if we help people get rid of these problems, then of course a person can live a longer life. Unfortunately, not everyone understands this balance correctly, and there are extremes either in diet or in exercise or physical activity. The thing is that it's important not to just stress losing weight, because many people think that if they exercise more and eat less, having more hours in a gym and eating less of something, then it will be fine. But what should be stressed here is the quality of body. And it's not just weight, it's also muscle weight and also the condition of bones. If you do not take that into account, it's no longer healthy lifestyle. Also, there have to be both force exercises and anaerobic exercises. Not everyone does it, and a change of diet. So if you take all that into account, and we do understand that in this relation, people do not pay attention, then it's not HLS, it's just an imaginary healthy lifestyle. So what happens? What happens next? You see this a beautiful, pretty lady with a big bowl of something. So today, for example, her name is Stephanie Sassos, and nutritionist, physician, and expert, a doctor of medical sciences. So what is her expertise? Expertise in healthy lifestyle, so that these two sides are balanced between physical exercise and diet. So what does she do? She makes research. She tries out different training routines. So she conducts big work with big team. But recently, humanity has a certain problem, which is overweight and even obesity. And as all people and humanity in general, it has fades and fashions. And you have to know, fashion changes in everything, including health and diets. And there are so many diets for losing weight. You know, they change like fashion of bags or fashion of glasses. eyeglasses. The same way the fashion of diets changes, and to extremes. In recent decades before 2000, I remember several diets. There was a kefir diet, then apple diet, when people just consume some one thing. There was a Kremlin diet, there was a separate diet, there was raw eating, there was Japanese diet, then F-factor diet. These are just what I have on the top of my mind. And so this lady, Stephanie Sassos, today is kind of a highly rated person. And so she also rated top 5 diets of 2001 and so on. So these are the diets of top diets of 2001. 2021. So Mediterranean diet that started getting popular from 2018. Then DASH diet, then volumetric diet, flexitarian diet, and then Scandinavian diet. This was top 5 diets of 2021. Then 2022, it's been already over half a year, so there are statistics. So keto diet, interval fasting, Mediterranean, then again Scandinavian, the next alkaline diet, and the last one, Neanderthalian diet. Here I have to smile. I will tell you why. You know what's a Neanderthalian diet? Well, I studied all of them so that I could understand what is happening. So Neanderthalian diet, it's supposedly what ancient people ate during Paleolithic period, 2.5 million years ago. I don't know about you, but it made me smile. So fashion has been changing and will be changing. And if you are using one of those diets, it's not about it being good or bad. We are grown-up people, we can choose. But behind every diet, there might be some research, of course, maybe even some numbers and data. But I have a request for you. Do not rush into some diets. Why? Because it's not HLS, it's not healthy lifestyle. But as diets change like gloves, so, and there is no universal diet, they keep changing. And people call everything healthy lifestyle, but there are no stable results usually, especially in losing weight. So the society has an internal resistance. And so there is a new fashion, body positive. So the way you are, you are. Though some people say that these people are simply lazy to work on themselves, that might as well be, but we are not going to argue and discuss it. But the thing is, you have to remember that as many as there are scientists, as many there are opinions, as many there are sciences, as many there are directions. It has always been like that and will always be like that. New things will always appear, new fashions will appear, but you have to always listen to yourself, to your mind, and to your body. All diets are interesting, but you have to remember that every diet, any diet, either limits or excludes some products. What does it mean? It means it deprives the body of something very needed and useful. So how to make an educated decision? Well, you have to take and choose from all of that something for yourself. Do you want to stress plant food? Do you want to stress losing weight? If you have cardiovascular diseases, then you also have to have a lot of antioxidants, and you have to minimize sugar as possible, or maybe completely exclude it. It's up to you. Just remember, there was one fashion some time ago when they completely excluded fat. Everything was fatless. And then many remember how it ended. The strokes increased because turns out we do need fats. So everything has to be reasonable and individual. You have to regulate your salt consumption, but not exclude salt. The norm of salt for a healthy person is 5 grams per day. But if you have sick kidneys, even people on dialysis, even they still have a norm of 2 grams of salt per day today, though previously it was excluded. Of course, when people are in hospitals, it's a different story, but we are now talking about the way of life and prevention. Next, control of water balance, because people started to drink more sugary drinks, but our body needs pure water. It's a separate, very interesting topic. You know why interesting? Maybe you haven't thought about it. The molecule of water, H2O. So two gases, hydrogen and oxygen, two gases connect and create liquid that we can see and feel. And in the organism, in the body, this liquid, when necessary, turns to gas again, and when necessary comes back to its liquid condition. And that's very interesting, but it's a separate topic, of course. Next, you have to add physical exercise. What kind? Walking 15 to 25 minutes per day, but every day you have to walk. It's not about kilometers to then have cramps, but simply for example, I asked one person, how much do you walk per day? He says, I really love walking from home to the car. And where is your car? Near the door. So that's kind of a response, you know. Next, what do we see here? We speak here about personalization, individualization of the food role in our life. Why have I chosen this picture? There are different ratios between genetics, ecology, and health. The researchers have different opinions. But here we took it all together, genetics, ecology, and health. It's 45% does not depend on the individual person, really. But 55% depends on the lifestyle. And within the lifestyle, food has a big part, and it influences a lot what? Our health, the health of human body. And here, what do we emphasize? First and foremost, healthy gastrointestinal tract. Why? Because it is there, no matter what we eat, has to be absorbed and then go where it's needed, and in the end get excreted as ballast. And all of that happens in gastrointestinal tract. And now we will discuss very interesting things. here again, we have a scientist in front of us. And now we look from a different point of view. Ivan Petrovich Razumkov studied the taste of food. Why tasty food is healthy?
If we visit someone or if we are at home, we have a tradition to thank for that. For example, someone made a meal and then of course we do not thank for calculating the calories, for thinking about necessary amount of proteins, lipids or carbohydrates. No, we say thank you for a delicious meal, and delicious is what is important. But we are also talking about natural products, and natural is green, natural food, and it must be tasty, it must be delicious. Now, there are chemicals that make this taste similar to natural. And if we close our eyes and taste something, the taste may not correspond to the thing you are eating. And in the nature, we have glucose, and glucose molecules, they always rotate to the right, but there are also molecules and substances, molecules that rotate to the left, and these molecules are proteins, and protein means life. There are also left rotated amino acids, RNA, DNA, and also vitamin C, which also rotates to the left. And that's always delicious. Our body can recognize it because that's something natural. So, as people say, a good cook is as important as a good doctor, because a good cook can make food using any products, and we will feel the taste of all these structures included in these natural products without changing, without modifying them, and our body recognizes it. So the condition of these molecules, whether they are left or right, they are called chiral cleanliness, and that's a property of the molecule, and it is not the same as its synthetical component. And when we eat something synthetic, something that is not natural, we are kind of full, but also hungry, because our cells did not get what they needed, and synthetic analogs do not fit our physiology. It's not natural. So if we continue talking about tastes and about Razenkov, why cooked roasted food is always more delicious? Nutrition specialists always say that this food is not natural, but it's always delicious. If you remember the modern pans and the old pans, you use the same products, use the same minced meat, use the same oil, but the taste will be different if you use this Teflon pan, or if you use this old-fashioned pan made of cast iron. fat metabolism. Why are we talking about it? Fats, they get into our body, into our digestive system and the duodenum. And in the duodenum, there is the bile from the gallbladder, from the liver, because there is a signal to the liver. And uh, uh, there is this very fine structure. And then also the ferment of the pancreas also goes to the duodenum and starts dissolving fats. So what happens then? If a person is following a diet and avoids fatty products, but bile is still produced, so the stimulus for this uh, uh, process is this something that is uh, like the roasted products, or you may need something else, something different, something that has a bitter taste. Some use coffee for that, and you may have noticed that this product helps motor movements of the intestinal tract. And if that's all very good, because it also leads to bowel movement. So for example, the roast meat and the shish kebab is not bad for liver. It's actually uh, healthy and good. And there were other scientists who studied this issue. Rustam Sultanovich Medvedev has several works dedicated to this topic. We are talking about health. We aren't talking about extremities. There are studies, they have been approved, confirmed, and I simply give you this example about the bitter taste, products with bitter taste that help get bile in the duodenum. Next person was a wonderful person, Natalia Petrovna Petrasyan. She passed away not a long time ago. She was a microbiologist, a biochemist, immunologist. She was a world level professor. And she said, nutrition specialists believe this product is unhealthy, that product is prohibited, etc. As Natalia Petrasyan said, nutrition specialists don't eat tasty food and they don't have long lives. She studied milk for 20 years, and we know a lot of different things, a lot of different information about milk. Our task is to consider nutrition from all angles. And what she studied for more than half of her life, she studied a wonderful amino acid that is called L-arginine. And she also studied our tastes. And that's the only amino acid out of 22 that we have. This one is particular because of its structure. It has 4 nitrogen groups, but that's not the case. She said that this amino acid is a signal molecule. When a baby is born, he or she doesn't have this amino acid in his or her body, and it gets there with mother's milk. That's how this amino acid gets into the baby's body. It goes to the brain, and specific cells start waking up. Those who are specialists in medicine, they know how they are called. And these cells start producing myelin that is necessary to protect the brain, the nerve cells. And that's how the baby starts having a coordination, because when he's just born, he doesn't have a coordination because of this multiple sclerosis like state. And thanks to L-arginine, the baby's brain gets myelinated and it gets healthy. And this process can also go in a different direction. Uh, there, there is a signal from every molecule, from every cell. And cells send signals to the brain whether they want a uh, beefsteak, beefsteak, or they want carrot, or they want apples, etc. You might have seen children, and you might have noticed that in yourself that tastes tastes changes. They really change. And sometimes you have different cravings, and that is related to L-arginine that is in real milk, not in identical milk. And this is natural food that is required for a healthy immune system. But what we need to understand, a balanced diet differs depending on each ethnicity. The protein reserves are virtually non-present in our body, and we have the reserves of glycogen. We now talk about protein, and it differs in different ethnicities threefold. As to milk and dairy products, then this difference is even bigger, even higher. In Japan, for example, 80 to 90% of people, they have lactose intolerance. They cannot digest milk. But here, only 2 to 3% of people have this intolerance. And these studies were carried out by Japanese scientists. I'm not going to name them, but I've studied them extensively. So, genetically, from generations to generations, they ate seafood, fish, and not so much milk. We have a different background, but we now are witnessing this fashion that Chinese, Japanese, and Eastern kitchen is very fashionable, is very popular. And there are also ethnic kitchens, cuisines. We can digest many things, but we need to understand that we need taste for that. If the food is tasty, then we have mediators and people feel satisfaction. But those who follow diets, you can understand that at once by just looking at them, because the corners of their mouth go down because it's not tasty, and the brain says, well, that's necessary, that's a very fashionable diet, but you can't fool a child. A child will show that and even can spit this food out. Only an adult can persuade himself that it is necessary. While a person is healthy, it really makes sense to have normal diet. That's why we need spices. We need to take healthy food to get these pleasure mediators. What about supplements? Of course, we uh, have had crisis of food, deficient in many things, even if it is eco food. And even those who feel great today, we don't know what will happen tomorrow. But even then, the person needs to think. But then, if there are issues with health, then of course you should seek doctors, you should consult them, you should follow the diets that are recommended by medical doctors. But then you need to remember that supplements will also be required, but in different doses and for a different time, for a longer time.
Let's come to this topic from yet another side, because there are such directions in food that is very scaled. It's vegetarians and vegans. The first, vegetarians are in subdivided in lacto vegetarians, so they have excluded meat and eggs, but they do take dairy. But there is another group that exclude not just meat, but they exclude meat but can eat eggs. So they are ovo vegetarians. So the other group is vegans. They do not eat anything of animal origin. And so omnivores and vegetarians have become juxtaposed in 1938, and two Nobel Prize winners, two persons known by the whole world, one is vegetarian Bernard Shaw, and the other who studied physiology of food and smell is Pavlov. And between them there was such a conflict, even to the physical fight, each one of them proving their own. And that's an excursus to history. In 18th century, from India to England came a fashion for vegetarianism from yoga adepts. But you must not forget that there is a different philosophy and way of eating and way of life in general in India. Everything is different. But today, there is a whole industry around the world for vegetarians. Well, demand creates supply. But here in European country, a very small percentage of people are those who since birth truly cannot create enzymes for meat proteins. But these are very few people. The rest, maybe for the beauty of this idea to protect animals, maybe because of fashion or some other reasons. Well, everyone decides for themselves, but often without understanding the consequences to their health. And thus they go into economical and political program. This is also a factor. The center of this movement now moved from India to France. There's such a propaganda of vegetarianism against those who do eat meat that leads to division of society. That's already a violent approach. I'm now in Ukraine, from Lviv, where there is war. It's enough, such an awful war. We don't not need to have war between people who eat differently. Everyone is a grown-up person and they can choose what to do. But to make wars because of that, it's madness. So complete nutrition is if a person is healthy, is called general table. So if you want support your health, you can take and think what you take from everything that is useful for yourself. But what's important to know for the vegetarians and vegans who are not such by birth, you have to know that in your DNA, there are about 100 mutations of genes that happen and that we give to our children. For example, you know the word acceleration. So every generation is taller than their parents. They are also smarter. Our children are smarter than us. But there is another factor. Every next generation is slowly but surely becomes less enduring. Do you remember hearing of indigo children? And now there is a new term, crystal children. And now there is another generation that is called Google generation. And the latest being born by now, it's alpha generation, which is all connected to the change of our genome. Well, the anti-aging is a wonderful concept. We want to live longer, but the lifestyle, economy, and everything else changes around us, whether we want it or not. And the number of mutation keeps increasing. And if people also deprive themselves of meat proteins, of amino acids that are in meat, milk, and eggs, and if we artificially deprive ourselves from us, I speak about healthy people, then productivity falls, whether you want it or not. And it's not making us healthier, it decreases the reproduction, the birth rate. I have some people I know who are artificially vegetarian, meaning they don't have bad lack of enzymes, but it's the wife who said we have to be healthy, we have to be vegetarian, and made her husband do that, and they didn't have children for a long time. And then I told them, please think, stop abusing your body. And you know what happened? So for many years, they were unable to get pregnant. Their body was unable to do that. When for about 8 to 9 months, they started eating fully, they had a baby. So we are Homo sapiens, means we have to think, not to run from fashion to fashion. Now we come to our dear Duolife, which offers us universal approach for health to anyone and everyone, no matter what diet and lifestyle they have. We have already discussed with you that all diets basically are imbalanced because they lack some ingredients. But those who have normal diet, they still have some lack and they have to support their health, because I emphasize it, and you know it really well, that our food is different than in ancient times. I call them crisis food products. They are deficient currently. So what does Duolife offer us? Amazing concept right here, a healthy lifestyle. Here it is. This is nutrition of awareness without going into fashions. It's stress management regular detoxification, supplementation, and physical fitness. All of that. So let's look here. We remember that if we speak about the influence of food on our body, and we all need something to support our health, and our topic is food, which means that we emphasize gastrointestinal tract, our system of food digestion. So therefore, we start with basic compositions that will help us regulate all these systems and organs and every cell of your body. Here you are, Duo Life Day and Duo Life Night. I will be really brief because many of you know it. If you need more details, you will be informed by someone who gave you the link to this meeting. So Duo Life Day gives us energy, and the Duo Life Night both supports our sleep rhythms and of course supports our body and detoxifies all the systems that need to be cleansed. Next we have liquid gold regen oil. This is such a composition that has 13 plant oils and also vitamin D3 and vitamin K, all of plant origin. So even if you do want to be vegetarian or vegan, here you are. You can have it, and any person in any fashionable diet can have it. Why? Because for every biochemical metabolism of every cell, it's important to have fat for fat soluble processes. And without these things, without vitamin D, we wouldn't be alive because every cell membrane is made of lipids. Now, my blood, it supports 10 systems of the body. That's why it is included in the basis department. Next is fiber bottle and fiber powder, soluble fiber that helps put our intestine in order. And there we have the process of absorption of nutrients and excretion of them. So it's very important. And Sun Vital, here you see this blue-eyed smiling baby, meaning it's healthy. So this is a composition for children's body and health to support the physiological norm. If we go up, there we have system compositions. Just recently, we have this new formula, My Gastrin, universal supplement to milk healthy all the digestion system. That is why it is in our systemic department. This is for functional systems of the body. If you are interested, there is one scientist who speaks about it for all the digestion system, which is very important for us because it's our topic today. Let's go up. Here we have compositions for separate organs. So ProSelect is to detoxify your liver from fat and water-soluble toxins. It's a unique help for your liver. polyantioxidant composition. And liver is a very important organ in our digestion system. Let's go up. Beg your pardon. Let's go back. Here we have mono compositions that help some mono situation. Chlorophyll, irreplaceable source of energy that restores the gut follicles that have absorption and increases the immune system. How?
And our intestinal system is related to the immune system, and that's how chlorophyll functions. Then we also have the yellow product, Vita C, and you probably have already understood what I'm talking about. L form of the molecules rotating to the left, our own molecules of vitamin C as if they are made especially for our body. This is the main antioxidant. This is a soluble vitamin and it takes part in all chemical processes. And now, let me go back for a second, sorry. And we still have this head, an empty one on top. And if you want to take some preparations for prevention, this program is enough. But if you want to improve your health, to restore health, then you need to select the whole program. And the programs are described and published on a website. You can simply read and find out more information. You need to take care of your body and your health. Here we can see general recommendations. Let's just summarize what we've heard today and what we've discussed. Recommendations for good nutrition. Avoid following fashionable diets. Listen to your body. Remember, when you switch diets, your body lacks nutrients. Try to have meals at the same time whenever you can, several times a day, and not like early in the morning and then before going to bed. Of course, you will want to eat a lot. Do not do sport. No, let's say like this. Do sport, but eat only after your sports activities. Remember about fluid intake. You understand that water is not a nutrient. It is also necessary for bowels, and you should also eat nuts in between meals and do not expect fast results. You all have seen people who start fasting because they need to put on a dress of a different size in 3 days and they hope it will help. The last meal is 2 hours before you go to bed. And it's great if you have a sleep regimen. Do not stay up very late until 1, 2 in the morning. I understand if you open your smartphone, it might happen. But if you really want to have a healthy lifestyle, then it makes sense to have a more serious attitude. And now, before we end today's conversation, I'd like to invite you to participate in a webinar that will take place on Friday and Saturday on the 21st and 22nd of October. It is called Why Do Life But? And that's a different story. And I can assure you, you will hear a lot of new and interesting things. And at the very end, let's thank our interpreters. Ukrainian interpreter Natalia, English